What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
Welcome into First Pitch for Friday, August 13th. Friday the 13th, the only one of the season. Hopefully it doesn't affect more winners than losers on today's show. I'm Drew Martin, your host, joined by Dave Cokin and Bryan Leonard of WagerTalk.com. Guys, we got 4 games on the docket, best bets at the end. Welcome into the chat box. And first up here, Dave Cokin, the winner with the Angels last night. And Dave, we had a big night for baseball fans and bettors here. Of course, Iowa kind of stole the show. What were your thoughts on that game in the cornfield? And welcome in. Happy Friday morning to you, Dave.
If you build it, they will come. And they did build it, and they came. That was great. Presentation last night, especially for those of us who grew up baseball fans and have a little nostalgic bent. And on top of that, the atmosphere was amazing. And on top of that, you got a great baseball game with tremendous swings late in the game and ended up with a walk-off on the part of the White Sox. I mean, it just couldn't have been better. It was just a great presentation.
Absolutely. It was fun to watch as fans. You're right. The walk-off there was a great game. Really cool atmosphere there. So good stuff, Dave. And next up here, Bryan Leonard. Happy Friday morning to you, Bryan. Welcome in.
Yes, it's great to be back on the show. And I too enjoyed it. It's one of the few baseball games during the regular season I'm actually going to go back and watch again. The presentation was terrific. The only thing I didn't like was I think MLB blew a bad situation that they could have made a lot of fun by playing the Oakland A's in that game, because Mark Hanna plays left field, and there's the old baseball saying, on a easy fly ball to the outfield, it's a can of corn. That would have worked out really well yesterday. But other than that, it was a lot of fun, and it was a great baseball game. And I even got the wife to watch it with me, and she didn't care about the Indians, and that's a good thing based on the way they've been playing lately.
Yeah, I like it, Bryan. Good stuff. Can of corn for sure. So, guys, we got our first game up here. We're actually heading to New York. We get the New York Mets and the LA Dodgers. Urias going for the Dodgers, the lefty from Culiacan, Mexico, only 25 years old. And actually, Dave, going back through his game logs, I'm interested if the Dodgers might be having an innings limit with him, only 5 innings in each of his last 2 starts. We're going with Miguel here for the Mets. We're seeing 8.5 being the total here, Dave. Minus 155. That's the Dodgers as the road favorite. Prime time here. Looks like 90 degrees, 10 miles an hour out towards center field. Do you like anything here? Dodgers and Mets, Dave?
I think it's a toss-up. Mets really needed that doubleheader sweep yesterday to get some positive momentum, and they got it against the Nationals. The Mets were in first place. They've been in first place longer than any team in all of baseball this season. They've been in first place for 100 days, and they finally let it get away. So this team needs to get it going once again, and that was a big plus for them yesterday. It gets a little tougher here. They're not facing the Nationals anymore. They're facing the Dodgers. And, of course, the Dodgers, you're sitting on the keyboard, buddy. Here, let me move you. Sorry, I got a cat on my lap. And there he is. There he is, making his first appearance on First Pitch, BC the cat. The Dodgers, look, this team is poised to make a huge run down the stretch. As for Urias, I'm not reading anything into his going short the last couple of starts. They don't go real deep with their starters anyway. No, you can't go up there, buddy. So I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, their idea is to go out there and get the starting pitcher to go as long as he can, 5 or 6 innings for the most part with him, and then hand it off to the bullpen. I think the Dodgers deserve to be the favorites here. I think it's priced right. Okay, that's it. He's made his appearance, and now he's gone. I can't make a play on the game. Lean Dodgers, but I think in terms of value, there isn't any. In fact, if I were going to make a straight case on just on the value, I'd probably lean Mets. But my opinion is Dodgers win the game.
Okay, good stuff. We got Abel in the chat box saying he's looking at the under here. Bryan, are you liking anything in New York tonight?
Yeah, I'm showing about a 12% offensive edge here for the Dodgers. The Mets are a lot better team playing at home, but David talked about how the Mets have fallen out at first. And a lot of that had to do with what I talked about earlier. I don't know which show it was on, but the Mets had played the least amount of games. Mets in Milwaukee had played the least amount of games with teams with winning records. Once they started playing teams with winning records, they started to fail a little bit. I think this game all comes down to your opinion of Tyler McGill. His numbers have been terrific. They've actually been better than Urias so far this season, but he's not a guy that's been highly touted. And, you see those kind of guys come up every once in a while and they have that success and they put it together at the next level. Maybe he's that way. We see that a lot of guys that have come up and done well in that regard. But I prefer the Mets playing at home. But I think the Dodgers, I'm sure the Dodgers are the better team here, but I don't see a lot of advantage in line or in this line. And the under makes sense to me. If we can keep these starters out there long enough, the bullpens have got some talent, but they're not always very good, which is why Dave plays the first five a lot. But I can be in agreement. The under looks probably as the best play in this game for myself.
Okay, good stuff, Bryan. And we're coming back with your Cleveland Indians for the second game up, guys. Also 7:10 Eastern. Looks like 80 degrees projected in Detroit. 10 miles an hour blowing out towards center field. We're getting Zach Plesac going for the Cleveland Indians. I don't believe they're called the Guardians just yet. And the Tigers going with Alexander, the lefty. Total of 9. Looks like minus 115 here. Cleveland as the road favorite, Bryan. You liking anything in the Motor City tonight?
Yeah, from a hitting standpoint, I have both these teams pretty equal in this regard against the handedness of the pitchers based on how they've played as of late. Plesac's one of those guys that when he's good, he's very good. Problem he doesn't strike enough players out. He's only got a 15.6 strikeout percentage. Neither pitcher gives up many walks. 5.1% for Plesac, 5.4 for Alexander. So based on the way Cleveland's been hitting, I wouldn't expect a lot of runs to be scored here. So a slight link to the under in that regard. But it's tough to play the Indians at this point, the way they're playing. They're bringing up a lot of younger players. They've got guys in the starting lineups that should not even be starters. Austin Hedges is a terrific defensive player, but anytime he's in the lineup offensively, it hurts your team. And that's the problem with the Indians is every catcher they've had the last 2 or 3 years, none of them can hit. And the one guy they did have that could hit a little bit, Eric Haas, is playing for the opposition here. They let him go, and now he's playing terrifically for the Detroit Tigers, even getting some time in the outfield. So Tigers are the team playing the better ball right now. That's probably where I'd lean in this game, but it's not one of the games that's on my schedule. I don't trust the Indians. I like Detroit a little bit better. If you take a look at history, the Indians have dominated Detroit, but this is a weaker Cleveland Indians team at this point.
Okay, so maybe leaning towards the home dog here from Bryan Leonard. And Dave, coming to you next. One thing, breaking down this game, each pitcher, their last time out, faced this lineup. So it's kind of a repeat performance here from both of them. How much do you think that factors in? And are you liking anything here, Cleveland and Detroit tonight, Dave?
Not particularly. It's not a game I gave strong consideration to. I did consider the Tigers. I decided not to go with it ultimately because it just didn't check off on a couple of the things that I like. But, just looking at it from, I guess, just a situational standpoint, these teams are tied for second right now. Which team do you think puts more importance on finishing second in the AL Central? I don't think there's any question. It's the Tigers. They want to finish second. They know they're not going to make the playoffs, but this is a big deal to Detroit to get to second place. They're building, and they're trying to put momentum on the together for next season. I mentioned this last week. The fact they signed in season, extended Jonathan Scope for 2 years. Not that Scope's a superstar, But that's an indication to everybody on the team that we're done with the building for 4 or 5 years down the road. We think we're ready to start contending. And I think that's a real positive sign for the whole team. And hey, look, they're playing good baseball. They're only, 5 games under 500 right now. I think Detroit has a goal in mind. I don't think they're coming out and saying, maybe they have said it publicly. I don't know. But I think they want to end up with a winning record. And being only 5 games under 500 with several weeks to go in the regular season and a lot of games in division still to play, and it's not a very good division, I think that's a realistic possibility for the Tigers. So I just look at it from that standpoint. It's tough. Overall, I think the Tigers are a go-with team. I don't necessarily think they are tonight because Plesac's probably the better pitcher, but I don't want the Indians in this spot. The only team I'd take is Detroit, simply because they want it more.
Sure, Dave. Like the breakdown there. Plus the fact, Cleveland's lost 3 straight. Detroit's won 3 straight, playing better baseball as of right now. So good stuff on the first 2 games, guys. We got 2 more to go. Huge shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. Jimmy, Effin, Danzo. We got Nicaragua watching here from Central Florida. Sean in Las Vegas as well. All of you guys, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to chime in the chat box. And if you're watching on replay, feel free to drop a line below on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Guys, 3rd game up here. Dave, coming to you. We get the Houston Astros and the LA Angels. Some later action tonight. Zach Greinke and Sandoval going for the Angels. Looks like a total of 9. We're now seeing Houston as low as minus $1.25, minus 130 here. We normally don't get the Astros this low of a favorite, Dave. Number 1 hitting lineup against lefties here. They're getting one tonight. Yep. You liking anything Astros and Angels, Dave?
Definitely lean to the Angels. I didn't play it. But this is going to sound like a broken record, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing on Patrick Sandoval, but the guy's legit. Okay, this guy's a good pitcher. I gave him the edge over Greinke, who has really not been pitching well. Over the past 4 weeks, Greinke's appearances have resulted in an OPS of 870. That's not very good. The problem is the Astros, and you mentioned it, they have just killed lefties. So even a good lefty who's pitching really well with Sandoval could have his work cut out for him in this matchup. And the Angels are not exactly killing the ball right now offensively. So the team data points to Houston. I think the pitching edge belongs to the Angels. I almost always go with the pitching edge. It didn't make my card, but it's pretty close. It really came close. I only played 1 game tonight. I would look at Sandoval first 5 here.
Okay, good stuff, Dave. And, Bryan, to Dave's point, Greinke, his last 2 starts, giving up 7 earned runs, 14 hits, 5 home runs. His last 2 times kind of toting the hill here. So Greinke's kind of tough starting pitcher to bet on, but that Astros lineup, it can put up some crooked numbers. Are you liking anything tonight in Anaheim?
Yeah, I want to touch on the previous game just a bit. Dave talked about Detroit. Fulmer, everybody thought Fulmer was going to be traded. Never got traded. I think that's a positive. It's a positive, as Dave pointed out, when you tell your players, you know what, I think we're pretty good right now. We don't need to ship off anybody. And Zach Plesac has owned the Tigers. His last 5 starts against them, 1.95 ERA, 62 game score. So the under may be something to take a look at there. But yeah, in this game with Houston and the Angels, I'm a big believer in Sandoval. You take a look at his numbers. His slugging is 323. Zach Greinke's is 417. Sandoval is one of those guys that not a big name and it's taken him a while to get going. But the wise guy money has been all over Sandoval. And we've seen this from this game. I believe Houston opened up as a 160 favorite. Now we're seeing anywhere in the basically 130 range. So the wise guys came in early on Sandoval, and I can't fault them for that regard. The problem is now the line is where it probably should be. So we're not seeing a lot of value here. Greinke's one of those guys that has just not really pitched very well this year. And, for Greinke, even not pitching well makes him a pretty decent pitcher, but not what we usually get and not what we usually expect, especially when you're playing on Houston, which is such a good team, and they're so good against lefties. So it's a tough game to handicap at this current line, but the guys that bet the Sandoval early were the correct line move, and obviously they've got some good lines to play with. But for myself, I don't have anything on this one. The line's pretty much where I'd made it.
Okay. Guys, we got one game left here. It's the nightcap for the show and the nightcap for the card. 10:10 Eastern, 7:10 Pacific here, Brian. We get the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners up in the Pacific Northwest. Robbie Ray going for the Blue Jays. Chris Flexen going for the Mariners. We're seeing minus 165 right now. That's the Toronto Blue Jays as the road favorite. Looks like a total of 8.5 or 9, depending where you're shopping here. Last game on the card here, Brian. Kind of the get back degenerate special. You interested in getting involved here with the Blue Jays on the West Coast?
I think the Blue Jays are going to win, but I really don't want to lay this number against this Seattle team who finds ways to win. We've talked about this all season long. They're not nearly as good as what their record is, but they continue to find ways to win. When we take a look at their records in one-run games and extra inning games on the season, they're now 24-14 in one-run games. They're in extra inning games, they're 10-4. They did trade away one of their best closers and one of their best pitchers, but they brought in a quality guy from Tampa, so they didn't lose much in that regard. Chris Flexen, you look at his numbers for the last 2 years. He only pitched 20 innings combined the last 2 years, but he gave up 19 earned runs in that regard. So there wasn't much thought coming into this season. I know he went overseas and pitched a little bit better, and then he come here and he's respectable this year. 3.81 ERA. You take a look at his last 7 starts, 3.51 ERA, 53 game score. Maybe we jumped the gun on Chris Flexen a little bit. He's never had the greatest stuff, but he's getting it done. Robbie Ray's always had a problem with walks. Last year in 51 innings, he walked 45 batters. This year in 130 innings, he's walked 10 less than he did in 51 last year. That's been the key with Robbie Ray, the control. And this year he's got the control, and his ERA went from 6.62 to 2.90. Robbie Ray's just been one of those situations that he found it this year. And it reminds me a lot of Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson, when he pitched for the Montreal Expos, he was a guy that could take your head off. He didn't know where the ball is going. Robbie Ray's very similar. Now Robbie Ray's got that control down, and he's pitching very well this year. So I don't want to stand in Robbie Ray's way, and I don't want to stand in the way of this Toronto offense, which has been very good all season long. But then again, Seattle finds ways to win. So I think Toronto's going to win, but I don't want to lay this number.
Yeah, Toronto Blue Jays lineup, number 2 in baseball against righties here, Dave. Dave, I lost on the Blue Jays last night, and you won fading them in the first 5. Are you looking to go against them here with a big plus price on the Mariners, the home dog?
No, I'm not. Part of the let's talk about Robbie Ray for a second. Bryan hit the nail on the head as far as his improved control is concerned. That was his big issue. Just walking too many guys, getting behind in counts. He'd beat 100 pitchers in the 4th inning, and he's really fixed things. He's been much more economical. The one type of team that he still is going to have trouble with are teams that can hit the ball out of the park. He does give up a lot of home runs, but Seattle is not one of those teams. So the Mariners don't have the tools in their lineup for the most part to exploit the one vulnerability that Ray still has. He's given up 20-something home runs this year, so he can still have a problem as far as that's concerned. But I don't think it's a real worry here. Flexen's been real good at home for Seattle. He hasn't been as good on the road, certainly, but the numbers at home are good, but he does seem to be tailing off. And I wonder if the innings are starting to pile up a little bit for Flexen. He has not been as effective lately as he was earlier in the season. I think Toronto wins the game. The bad news, it's in the price. And that's where there's 2 things you got to do when you handicap baseball, and that's first handicap the game itself. Forget the price and just handicap the game itself, and then go look at the price to see if the number you made offers any value. The number I made on this game is basically where it is. So yeah, I think Toronto wins, but do I think it's worth a wager? Nope, not at the price.
Words of wisdom from Dave Cokin. He knows his stuff, guys. It's the same way I do it, Dave. Go down, make my own matchup handicap, and then look at the price. I like doing it, and it's helped me in recent years as well. So, guys, 4 games on the card broken down, but 2 of the best in the business. Check them both out at WagerTalk.com. We got best bets coming up. If you're liking the content, please do us a favor. Smash that like button. It helps us out with the YouTube algorithms, and we would appreciate it for sure, guys. As we head here, 2 best bets. Dave, I'll throw it over to you. 2 in one night last night. You're up big on the season as well. So what, plus 179 bankroll increase there at WagerTalk.com. You got a free NFL play up as well. So Dave, I'll throw it over to you for best bets and final thoughts.
I do. I have a short card tonight. I only played one baseball game, and it's not a big play. I think it's 178.08. Is that right? Am I reading my writing right? 178.08. All sports net profit for 2021, and that's a lot. Okay. Baseball is now more than 50 units ahead net on the season. That's good. Basically going into a season, my goal is 50 units. If I can win 50 units in any season, full season, that's a good season. So I'm at 50 now. So it's a chance for this to still be a really good season in baseball if I can continue down the stretch. By the way, going back to January 1st, 2018, which is basically when I joined Wager Talk, I'm now at 369.78 units. That's exact in all sports. Again, that's a lot. So any one night, who knows? But long term, probably worth checking out the packages that are available right now because there's some good discounts to be had. My homepage is wt.buzz/DC. I do have a football play tonight. It's small. It's only a 2% play, and I made it a free selection. You can view that on Twitter at Dave Cokin or, again, on my Wager Talk homepage. And the best bet of the show is not a game that made my card. I'm not going to tell you the one game that I did play. You can buy that if you want. This one only missed because it got priced too high, and that's the Brewers-Pirates game. The Brewers have absolutely owned the Pirates. They're clearly in much better form than the Pirates, who just suck beyond belief right now. And your pitching matchup here, Brett Anderson is in really good form for Milwaukee. He doesn't go deep into games. He's a 5-inning guy, but he has been outstanding over the past month. His OPS over the past month is like 500. I mean, that guy's in great form. And Mitch Keller stinks. Okay, he's terrible, and he's even worse than normal form lately. So it's a game the Brewers should win. I would lay the half run here. I didn't personally because I'm just anal about not breaking my own rules. And one of them is I won't go more than minus 130 on a first 5 half minus a half run. I just won't do it. But if you're a little less stringent than I am, this is probably a pretty good play on the Brewers minus the half run.
All right, and guys, I'm going to head to the game we talked about, the Cleveland Indians, Detroit Tigers here, Zach Plesac and Alexander. I'm actually fading Zach Plesac here. We talked about it briefly earlier in the show, but the former 12th rounder out of Ball State, his swing and strike rate has really dropped of recent. He actually only has 58 strikeouts in 89 innings. That is a far drop from his totals last year. And this is a situation where both pitchers are facing the opposing lineup back-to-back games here. And Plesac against this Detroit lineup went 4 innings, 4 earned runs, 3 walks. Not a good outing. Where Alexander against this Indians lineup went 5+ innings, 0 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks. So recency performance here favoring the Detroit starter, plus the fact the Cleveland Indians really struggling, bottom 5 in MLB versus lefties. They're going up against the lefty tonight. I think the wrong team's favored here, guys. We get the Detroit Tigers winning 3 straight, the Cleveland Indians losing 3 straight. We're getting the hotter team at home, wrong team favored. Detroit Tigers plus 105. You can get them as high as plus 110. We'll call it plus 108, looking at the Wager Talk odds screen. So I'm on the home dog here in the Motor City, Detroit Tigers plus 108. Bryan, throw it over to you. Finish us off in best bets, buddy.
I'm going to use some of my promotion to talk about Dave Cokin. Not only is he winning, I haven't seen such a consistent run from anybody in this industry in like the last 40 years. Dave's just, he only puts out plays on the games and sports that he understands, that he wins at. He's not one of those guys that tries to get a soccer game here, a tennis match here. He does what he does, and he wins. And he has been so consistent. It's amazing. It blows my mind. And I've known about Dave. I met him 25 years ago when I came out to Vegas. He was doing a radio show. And I went up and introduced myself. And he knew who I was. I was from Cleveland at the time. But he's just amazing to me. And if you're looking for long-term, you buy Dave Cokin. That's all I got to say. For myself, I really like this card today. I've got 4 plays up today. Went 2-0 yesterday. 4 plays up. This is one of them. You can get all 4 plays for only $29. Nice savings today. But Jack Flaherty's coming back from the IL today, which is one of the reasons why this line is lower priced here. Kansas City against righties over the last 30 days has a WRC plus of 72, 28% lower than league average. They're not hitting righties. St. Louis is hitting 115 over the last month against lefties. Mike Minor's really struggled. His last 7 starts, a 6-run ERA. I know Flaherty's not going to pitch long here, but take a look at what he's done. He's faced Kansas City 3 times, 1 each over the last 3 years. Average game score 71 with a 0.95 ERA. Flaherty's pitch count is going to be limited today. He's probably not even going to go the 5, but you're going to get good outing out of Flaherty for when he's in the game. Dave's big on playing first 5. It makes sense to me if you wanted to play this game first 5. St. Louis is a team playing much better ball than Kansas City right now. I thought this line was really cheap. I know why it is because of the limited amount of time that Flaherty's going to be in that game. This is one of the top pitchers in baseball. He's not having a great year, but even if you take a look at his last 6 starts, he's got a 2.43 ERA, 61 game score. He's putting it all together. I know he's coming back from the IL, but I like Flaherty here. I think he shuts out Kansas City while he's on the mound. I like St. Louis today.
By the way, Bryan, how much money do you have left in Fab free agency in our baseball league?
I think I've got $3.
Oh, good.
In the
Good.
American League, it's 7 in the National League.
Okay.
I know Flaherty's going to be on your card.
Yeah. I've got plenty of money to spend. I got like $60 in Fab budget, so I'm going to be outbidding you for him this Sunday.
I hope you forget. I hope you go out partying the night before and just forget to put that in.
At my age, I don't go out and party anymore. It's probably why I'm doing so well. I got nothing else to do.
Dave, did you used to back in your younger days, or
holy
not,
shit?
never
Are
really?
you kidding? Oh my God! Oh, I'm surprised I'm still alive. I got like 9,000 pictures from the shot club back in the 80s. It was fun.
Oh, wow.
As the expression goes, I got my innings in.
There you go.
That's a good way to put it. Chat Fox loving it too, Dave. P-Dog saying love smoking Dave Cokin analysis. Jessica kind of echoing what Bryan just said, Dave. Been with Dave for over a year now, and my bankroll is fat. So people loving it, Dave. Congrats to you. I love your analysis as well, Dave. I've learned a lot. So enjoy doing this show with you, to echo some of what Bryan Leonard said about you.
I appreciate it, and I certainly appreciate what Bryan said.
Yeah, for sure. And you got the cat, the rescue cat as well. So hopefully, guys, these best bets come through. Maybe a little karma in our side and recap here before we shut it down. We got I'm on the Detroit Tigers plus 108, wrong team favored in the home dog there in the Motor City. We get Bryan Leonard, St. Louis Cardinals minus 135, and Dave Cokin, Brewers first 5 minus 130 on the run line, I believe, right, Dave?
That's there's something missing from the graphic, because you're not getting the Brewers first 5 at minus 130. That's minus first 5 minus a half run at minus, and it's actually, I think it's higher than that now. I think it's minus 140. So I don't want to make it look like I'm fudging on the lines there. That should be minus a half run.
Okay, well, we got it, Dave. Thanks for clearing that up. And guys, that does it for the Friday show. Over 300 people watching, both Twitter and YouTube. We really appreciate it. Please smash that like button on your way out. It is the Friday the 13th show here, so hopefully we can buck that trend and maybe go 3-0, if not 2-1 on these best bets. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Please smash that like button. For Bryan Leonard, Dave Cokin, I am Drew Martin. We'll be back on Monday. Best of luck with your bets until then, guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to
Yeah,
gain access to free
minus-
plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.